You okay, Joey?
Yeah, now move over, I'm driving. Look, this is a very big day for me. Philly called. By the end of the day, I'm either gonna be a made man or I'm gonna be dead.
What the fuck's going on?
It's about money. This time it's gold, but it's always about fucking money. Look, you really sure you want to know what this is all about? Okay, kid. All right, but I better start at the beginning. All right, listen, when we got back from Nam, Eggs said he owed him.
Eggs? You mean Johnny Eggs, right? I heard of him.
Johnny Eggs Biondo. Anyway, listen. When we got back home, he said he had some big plans, and I went right along with him, because pretty much I had nothing else to do that day. Little Italy. That's where I first met Philly Lombardi.
Hey, so you're Joey. I want to thank you for looking after my boy.
He was talking about eggs.
So I understand you're looking for work. Look, I got a little business in North Carolina you could take care of for me.
See, what you gotta understand is, what most mobsters do on a day-to-day basis to earn is mundane, like buying cigarettes cheaply in North Carolina and reselling them in New York, without collecting any tax, of course.
You saw fucking Huey in Carolina? Are you fucking with me?
Well, it wasn't really a Huey, you fucking schmuck. It was a chopper, but I have this problem, see, I get these flashbacks.
Sorry, Joe. I didn't mean no disrespect.
Look, I don't know what, the sight of the chopper, the swamps, the fact that practically every motherfucker I met that day was trying to kill me, I don't know. One thing was for sure. My body might have been in Carolina, but in my head, I was back in Nam. And that's where this whole fucking thing started. Back in those fucking rat tunnels.
So that's why Egg said he owed you then. I didn't know you'd saved his butt back in Nam.
Yeah. Right now, I wish I'd left the fucker to die.
Yeah? I thought you said he was your friend.
He was. Eggs and me first saw the gold back in Nam. And since then, both have become a real fucking pain in the ass.
You didn't tell me yet what happened in Carolina. You ever get your truck back? Shit, Joey. You lost Philly's cigarettes?
Oh, I lost his fucking money. All right? This was definitely a very bad thing. Now, there was no doubt I had an obligation I had to fulfill. An obligation to both the mob and Philly.
So how come Philly didn't just pop you there and then?
Well, he was pissed at me, sure, but he must have known I was good to have in a fight, you know? I've always been useful to Philly. He's always sent me to do the jobs no one else can do.
Like what?
The old Don had a printing press out in the Flower District where they mostly printed girly magazines. Of course, it was all a cover for his counterfeit note operation. Feds had been paying the place way too much attention. So the old man decides to close the operation until the heat was off. Philly sent me to pick up the plates and take them somewhere safer. I tell you, I was one big bundle of nerves as Eggs and me drove back to Philly's place. I thought my screw-up in Carolina and the fact that I just wasted a whole load of Corellis really meant the end for me. But as it turned out, Philly seemed pretty cool about it.
You got the plates, kid. It would have been much worse if you hadn't. Was nothing you could have done about the feds, Joey. You did good, kid.
To tell you the truth, he seemed more impressed with me than pissed at me. But listen, I told you before, this was all about money. The gold. And it was only yesterday it became clear to me where it was. I got my hands on it just before you turned up this morning, in fact.
You shitting me? It was buried in fucking Calvary?
Yeah. Been there for years. Ever since it arrived in New York, all the way from Nam.
Shit. So what the fuck happened this morning, Joe?
I'll tell you what happened.
You're one lucky son of a bitch to still be alive, Joe.
Yeah, tell me about it. It wasn't the first time I'd had a run-in with these guys. Over the years, they've taken more and more power in New York.
Who?
The Triad. The guys this morning weren't Triad, but they were sure working with them. There's always a power struggle going on with these guys, and to win those power struggles, you need money. Lots of money. One day I was called to a meeting with Philly. Told me I was gonna help him out with a little problem. Philly had decided to make his move at last. He was gonna take out the Don. He was gonna take control of the family.
You were there when all that shit went down?
Was I there? Yeah, you're fucking right I was. Let me tell you something, I really made my bones that day. Yeah, that's the day I really proved myself to Philly. I proved my loyalty to him, and that's when I started getting sent on jobs where before, we normally send Eggs.
And Eggs was okay with that?
No way. See, over time, Eggs kind of distanced himself more and more from Philly and me, but we were way too busy to take much notice.
Didn't you guys have more trouble with the feds after Philly had bumped off the old man?
Oh, yeah. See, Philly wanted everyone to know that things were going to change. Now, ever since I'd collected the printing plates, the FBI had been watching us night and day, listening equipment, all that kind of stuff, from a building across the road. Philly wanted to send them a little message, and I was the delivery boy. When I got back to the club after my run-in with the feds, Philly was really pissed.
I said a little fucking message, Joey, to tell the fuckers to mind their own fucking business. Instead, you start a small fucking war.
So after a whole lot of shouting, Philly tells me he had a contact who could make things right with the feds, but it was gonna cost, and he sure as hell wasn't gonna fucking pay. So a few minutes in a phone call later, Philly tells me I have to get $50,000 that night. Now, Philly later told me he'd been pissed not just because of my screw-up, but also because of the Orientals. You see, the triad and a certain Jade Lee had been causing Philly a lot of fucking trouble. Now, one day, years before Philly took control of the family, he'd called me up.
Joey, I need you to do your thing again, kid. Those fucking Orientals ain't coughing up what's due. Get your ass down there and fix it, capiche?
Philly sent me to see a lot of people during the early years. I was his personal heavy, his persuader. If they wouldn't play ball, he sent me. Most jobs went nice and smooth, easy money. This one was gonna become a real thorn in the family's side.
So that Jade bitch got away from you?
You could say that. From that day, she gained more and more power in New York.
But what happened about the 50 grand to pay off the feds?
Oh, yeah, the payoff. Well, there comes a time in everybody's life when you make a decision. You're either in or you're nobody. Well, this was my time. Now, I had to get a hold of 50 Large that night to pay off Philly's contact and make things right with the feds. Now, maybe Philly figures I'm gonna go to the street for it, but forget it. That would have put me in a hole I'd never get out of. I had my own ideas. So with one call, the feds and the Corellis were off our back. For a while, anyways.
You didn't ask Eggs to help you get the 50 grand?
Nah, after overhearing him on the wiretap, I wasn't sure what he was up to. You know, I couldn't trust him anymore. Besides, the payoff was my problem and I was gonna handle it.
And you never faced up to him about what you'd heard on the wiretap?
No fucking way. No, this was business. This was big. If he'd have wanted me to know about it, he'd have told me. Let me tell you, he'd just as soon put a bullet through me as the next joker when money was concerned.
Some friend.
Please, you don't know the half of it. Anyways, over the next few years, things between us and the Chinese got worse. You know, they'd hit us, we'd hit them back harder. They'd come back even harder than that, so Philly decides to sit down with the other families to form a truce so we could kick the Chinese out of New York once and for all.
It got that bad?
For Philly to call the families together? Yeah, it was that fucking bad. Philly organized a meeting in Cha-Cha Charlie's and everybody agreed to turn up. I should have known it was too good to be true.
Joey, you take care of anybody who's not here for the linguine, capiche?
It is Lombardi! Lombardi, I got a message for you! You're fucking dead!
So the other families had thrown in with the Chinese then?
Fuck no. They hated the Orientals as much as we did, but they thought that Philly was weak by wanting to sit down and talk. They thought they could take us out of the picture. They thought wrong.
Shit, Joey. How'd we ever let the fucking Chinese get so powerful?
Truth? The families were getting old and lazy. Jade was forcing them out of their territory right under their noses and they never fucking noticed. We were just about the only guys that were gonna do anything about it.
So what the fuck did we do about it?
Some years ago, before the sit-down at Cha-Cha Charlie's, Philly had called me in. He was blowing a gasket.
They ain't playing ball, Joey.
He was talking about the Chinese again.
This Jade Lee bitch ain't making a fucking monkey out of me any longer. Get the guys, get down there, and fucking bury her.
Over the next few years, we clashed with the Chinese more and more. They were becoming big fucking trouble, and all because of the gold. Now, sure, they didn't know where it was, but they sure as hell hadn't forgotten about it. But they weren't the only ones looking for it.
You mean Eggs?
Yeah, Eggs. Yeah, he was looking as well. He must have been trying to find it ever since we got back from Nam, but he could never figure out where it was.
So how the fuck did you know where to find the gold, Joey?
I'm at the club yesterday. You know, some of the guys are listening to this radio program about the 20th anniversary of the first moon landing. And I don't know, somebody asked me what I was doing on that day 20 years ago. And that's when my mind started playing tricks on me again, and all of a sudden I was back in Nam.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Until that flashback to Nam, I'd forgotten what the GI in the mortuary had said. This one's another Calvary. If I'd remembered that when I overheard Eggs on the wiretap, I'd have known exactly where it was.
Calvary's a pretty big fucking place, Joe. How'd you know which grave it was in?
Came to me all of a sudden, the date, the moon landing, July '69. How could I have been so stupid?
I don't get it.
Just had to find a GI who died like a day or two before the moon landing, and that would be the date on the gravestone. That's where the gold would be.
Why are we stopping, Joe?
We need to know where Eggs is taking the gold, so we need to stop here. Besides, I got some unfinished business to take care of. You wait here. I needed to know where Eggs was taking the gold, and I figured Jade would know.
And she just told you?
Took a bit of persuasion, but yeah, she told me all right. Eggs is taking the gold to the docks.
You saying Eggs is in bed with the Triad?
For fucking years now. And behind Philly's back. You know, a few years ago, Eggs went missing.
Yeah, I heard. Some of the guys said he'd been whacked.
Bullshit. He fucking betrayed me and Philly. That's what happened. See, Philly had connections with arms dealers. So he'd arranged for me and Eggs to pick up a shipment down at the docks. And Philly sent me and Eggs because he wasn't sure who else he could trust anymore. You know, some of the guys had believed all that shit up from the other families about Philly being weak. Now they'd cut and run. Chicken shit pussies. They'd get theirs. Well, now I'm pretty fucking sure that Eggs had killed the arms dealer and organized the ambush. He'd been wanting me dead for years. I guess he figured that since I'd seen the gold as well, that wasn't a good thing.
So where did Eggs go?
Fuck knows. I got back to the club, no one had seen him. One thing was for sure, Philly was fucking furious. I took a few of the guys down to the docks to clean up the mess and pick up the weapons.
And he never showed his face again?
Eventually, but at the time, he'd completely disappeared off the radar. Yeah, we looked for him for weeks. Rumors started saying he'd been killed. I didn't buy it.
But Joe, you said Eggs has got the gold now. He was in Calvary this morning?
Yeah, he was there. Of course, he had others doing the dirty work for him. He's a fucking coward. Always was, always will be.
So how'd he get away with the gold then?
Shit, I had this day all planned. Get the gold, get it to Philly, get made. It hasn't really turned out like that.
So that was the same hitman from way back in Carolina?
Yeah. Eggs had wanted me dead all the way back then, but he was too much of a pussy to do it himself.
So where's Eggs been all this time?
How the fuck do I know? But a few years after his disappearing act, he showed up again. We got ourselves heavy weapons now, and we were starting to scare the shit out of the other families and the Triad.
The war on the streets was going our way at last?
Oh, fuck yeah. After a few years, we had him on the run. Then we got word that representatives from the Triad and a couple of the families were meeting in Chinatown to discuss their problem. We thought we'd show them just how big that problem was. And that's the last time I saw Johnny Eggs. Until today.
So I guess when you get the gold back, you're gonna be a rich man, Joey.
Oh, you got a lot to learn about being part of a family, kid. This ain't my money, it's not the Triad's money, and it's certainly not fucking Eggs' money. It's the family's. Eggs don't get that yet, but he will. By the end of the day. Money ain't gonna turn me around, it's up to Philly as to who gets what.
Why are you telling me all this, Joey?
Because you need to know what the fuck you're getting yourself into, kid. My blood, my nephew. And I don't want you walking in blind and fucking clueless like I did. Okay, we're here. Now listen to me. You wait here, and if I'm not back in an hour or trouble comes this way, you get the fuck out of here fast, Gavish?
You gonna be okay?
Yeah, sure. Sure I am. By the time the cops turned up, we were out of there. Eggs' death had really shocked Philly. I mean, he and Eggs were almost blood, you know, and I killed him. Even after Eggs' treachery and the fact that I just delivered Philly millions in gold, I ain't sure if he's gonna make me or whack me. But I guess I'm about to find out.